immediate thoughts were as soon as you knew for sure that you were coming here to play for the Clippers and your father?
I was really excited just because this is a playoff championship caliber team. So just to be a part of that, really excited me, and just looking forward to it.
Austin, there's a lot of attention. There's a lot of attention on this movie just because of the nature of it. What's it been like, kind of sifting through all of that over this took about a week to really finalize. What's that week really been like?
I've really tried not to pay attention to it. I haven't really been on Twitter, or I haven't even been on Instagram or anything. I've just been watching basketball and watching the Clippers play. It's one of those things where people are going to kind of put a lot into it just because, like you said, the nature of it. But I wasn't, it really hasn't affected me at all. I'm viewing it as an opportunity to play for a great team. The whole father-son thing, obviously people are going to read into that, but, it is what it is, man. I'm just focusing on the basketball part.
You said you've been watching them a lot. How familiar are you with the team, and is that an advantage? Because it's a team you've probably watched more than, say, Minnesota or something.
I wasn't as familiar as you would think, because I've always focused on just like my own team. When we play, I'd watch game plans or game film with other teams, so it's not like after my game I'm like, oh, the Clippers are playing, I gotta watch them. You know what I mean? It's like he's always kind of done his thing and I've done mine. And to be honest, I never thought something like this would happen. And then he called me up and he asked me, is this something you might be interested into? Because we think we need we need you. And when I heard that, it was one of those things where I just kind of had to think, had to take a day to myself and be like, could this work? And it does, just because of the relationship I have with him. Is already kind of basketball oriented, just because he grew up in Boston, I grew up in Orlando, so it's not so much like father-son, it's just kind of like coach-player, and then off the court, we deal with that a different way, so it's kind of like that.
Yeah, so you both had previously said that this might not be something that you'd want to do. When he called you, did that kind of begin your thought process of saying, like, how this could work? Yeah,
I mean, in the past, people have asked me that, and I've always said, I think we'll just leave it as going against each other. And again, I did not expect it. I got the call, and I thought he was calling me just to talk, and when that came up, I was like, man, I really got to think about this. First thing I did was call my mom. She's the one that's got to, deal with this, and she was a wreck the first night. She was calling me like, well, what if this happens? I was like, Mom, it's not on anybody but me, and him. At the end of the day, my job is to play and compete, and that's it. Listen, it's not like the last second of the game and then I got the ball in my hands. You know what I mean? I know my role here. I know Chris and Blake are the leaders, and everybody else behind him, behind them are really guys who are role players around them. They're great players, but you know what I mean. So I'm just here to compete and just help this team out.
Austin, going off of last time you were here playing against them, what is it about this team that excites you to join them?
I mean, they play so free. They play so free, man. They're out there just playing for each other, and it's fun to watch them. So today, even in the the shoot around, I couldn't participate, but just watching them shoot, I was like, you could just see how much fun they have on the basketball court, and that really intrigued me. And that was kind of one of the main things that led me to coming here, besides the fact of being on a winning team and competing for a championship. The second thing was just the fact that you go out there and play, like just play and have no worries, and just give it your all. And listen, makes and misses are going to happen. Everybody makes and misses shots, but if you just compete and defend the way they ask you, with my dad and Lawrence there, you got to defend. So that's kind of the thing I'm looking at right now.
Austin, what skills that you possess do you feel like you can bring to this team to help this team out?
For one, defense. Just being a physical guard, a bigger guard. Just try to be physical with players, guarding one and a two spot, and even three, depending on who. And then offensively, scoring. I can score the ball and just play make. I think that's something the team needs in that second unit. Is somebody that can make plays, scoring, and create for other guys. Just kind of who can attack the basket, get the defense to go in and kick out the shooters. So when they said they needed that, that's why I didn't even hesitate, man. If I could do that for a team like this, I had to jump at this opportunity.
Do you worry that you're going to have a conflict of interest in terms of player camaraderie versus father-son loyalty?
No, because that's not even like, my dad is too focused on his thing for even that to be an issue. You know what I mean? It's almost like a disrespectful thing to my dad. You know, my dad would never ever play me over somebody because of my son. He wants, if I'm not playing well, he's gonna sit. I'm sitting on the bench. You know what I mean? It is what it is. He wants to win. That's how. I mean, my dad was the type of guy when I was 5 years old. We played checkers. He would not let me win. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how he is, man. So he's not doing any favors for me. I got to earn everything here, and I think the guys know that. And if we didn't have, the high character of guys we had here, I don't think he would have made the move. But there are high character guys here, and they know that I will play because I should play. And if I don't play, then I'm not playing. I'm just here to have a good attitude and help the team.
But I mean, even in the locker room, if you hear guys talking about the coach, I mean, that's your dad. Is that putting you in a weird?
I don't care. And the reason I don't is because I know it is what it is. That's just the way sports are. It's like, I'm not going to be like, oh, he's talking about my dad. It's just like, man, I felt that way too about, times about people. That's sports, You're not always going to be the happiest at your coach. I understand that. And they're not, like today, if someone says something, they're not nervous about saying it around me either. I'm just kind of loose. And they know that I'm not going to say anything because that's just not the right thing to do. That'd be the wrong way to go about this, So I'm just sitting there like anybody else. So that's how you got to treat it.
Austin, I was asking Doc, which one of you guys just puts more pressure on in your eyes? Which one does it put more pressure on?
It's a good question.
That's what your dad said.
Because I don't really have any pressure on me. You know what I mean? It's I don't. This isn't pressure for me. This is like, listen. I don't know. There's one ball. There's 2 baskets. It's 5-on-5. Everything else to me is just fugazi. It's all extra. You know what I mean? Nothing changes, but I got to go out there and know my game plan and play. So everything else is added. Whatever you want to call it. People are going to say this. Stop, do this or this. I don't read into all that, man. I'm here just to play basketball, and he's here to coach and win. And I think when you look at it that way, I don't even think that question even needs to be answered. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I don't feel any pressure.
All right, last question.
Austin, you said your mom was a wreck initially. What did your sister and brothers, what's their take on this thing?
Well, my brother plays out here, so he's like, come, you can come to watch my games. I don't even think he was thinking for me. He was thinking for himself. And my sister works out here, too, so they're like, I don't really get to see him that much. But, yeah, it was one of those things where when the decision happened, I just, I called my mom first, and then after that, my brothers and my friends called me. My adopted brother called me, and they were just like, I think you should do it, not because of your father, just because it's a good opportunity for you, and, this is a great opportunity for you to go help a team that's right there, and when I looked at it that way, there's really no reason for me not to, come here. And it wasn't ultimately my decision, but I'm saying just as far as going this direction. Playing for a team like this with these guys, learn from guys like Chris, older guys like Jamal, guys who have been doing it at a high level for so long. Like, I don't know how I can say no to that. Work with Sam Cassell and all the coaches they have here, Mike Woodson. I couldn't say no. So I'm excited about this opportunity, and I'm going to go compete, and whatever happens, happens. So that's how I'm looking at it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.